Group number 3, are you here?
Yeah, we're here,
Yes.
Emily.
Very good, great. Okay, well, the floor is yours. I will turn on the timer and let you know when there's 5 minutes left.
Okay, do everyone can see the PowerPoint slides?
Yep, perfect.
All right. Hello, everyone. We're Group 3, and our project is the Piedmont Lithium Mine located in North Carolina. Next slide. So first, we're going to go over the background research we did, and then we're going to go over the SCG indicators, and then a path forward. So background is first. Next slide. So lithium was our critical mineral, and it is essential to the U.S. economy and national security because it is essential for electronics and multiple other technological devices. And it's also critical because the supply chain is vulnerable to disruption. As for how lithium is mined, there are 3 main types of deposits. There's brine deposits, pegmatite, and sedimentary. Brine deposits account for 66% of lithium produced. Pegmatite accounts for 26%, and the rest is found in sedimentary deposits. Next slide.
Okay, so lithium is currently used in multiple industries. However, at the moment, the most relevant use that lithium has would be in the fabrication of batteries for electric vehicles and for and large-scale batteries for storing renewable energy. The deposit in our case of a study is a pegmatite called spodumene, and the process to mine the lithium out of this deposit is the one showing the figure. Next one, please.
So we're going to continue with mining methods and processing method that Piedmont Lithium project will be using. They will use the conventional open pit method to mine their pegmatite and high-grade lithium deposit. And they also going to be use a series of flotation and magnetic separation to recover their concentrate, which then will be supplied to their chemical plant to be converted into lithium hydroxide. However, this mining method can potentially create disruption of the environment in 25 years of their mine life. Therefore, as a preventive action, the mining operation should be aligned closely with SDG 12, responsible consumption and production, and also SDG 13, which is climate action.
Okay, for the social and environmental context, Piedmont has membership with those Chamber of Commerce to be aware of what is happening in the community, to provide safe working environments, acting ethically and responsibly. It also takes into account 3 important points: to take care of the tributaries, generate low CO2 emissions, and fair labor.
As for the potential impacts economically, it has the potential to position Piedmont as the industry's lowest cost producer. Environmentally, the potential impact for local communities would be an issue due to the large earth moving equipment, the noise, water pollution, and just dust pollution. So that's something that has to be taken into consideration. Socially, though, we see positive potential impacts. It could generate jobs, tax benefits, improve the health and education access for the local community, and much more. Next slide, please.
Okay, we're gonna move on with the SDG indicators. So here's specific indicators to evaluate Piedmont Lithium sustainability. This will be based on their mine annual sustainability report. So the first thing first, SDG 8, which will be decent work and economic growth. Basically, the mine will significantly boost economic activity nearby through a job availability, tax benefits, and also general business growth for the community lives nearby. Next will be SDG 9. This basically we will discuss about how Piedmont lithium mine will have average cash operating cost of around 3,657 per metric ton, which has been mentioned before. Economically, it potentially position Piedmont lithium as one of the industry's lowest cost producers, which can also be translated as a lower risk project. The next SDG will be responsible consumption and production. The mine will use modern open pit mining and environmental water and air mitigation technique that will be better and also safer than traditional methods. In addition, they are committing to pay and responsible for all reclamation activities that could be in the future used for manufacturing development, recreation area, and maybe a combination of these. Last but not least, there will be SDG 13, which is climate action. Mainly, we will talk about fuel emission and dust impact that will be or can be significantly reduced due to their in-pit crushing technology.
All right. Apologize, I have a cold. Next up is going to be the 2020 Albemarle Sustainability Report. It contributes to SDG 3 through the SHE Health and Safety Environmental Performance. One moment, it's freezing for me. Okay, never mind. I apologize. My slides was messing up. We look for relevant specificators for this report, and the contribution for SDG 12 would be the lower CO2 emissions, the grid storage and efficient use of renewable energy. And as for the HPC and FCC catalyst, what it essentially does is enables the refinery to run at a lower energy use, making it more efficient. The TRIR and fatality rate are also good indicators of safety and health performance, as the HSE. ERM is a program that finds and quantifies risks need to be addressed and can impact shareholders. Innovation in the industry always comes with risk, and finding ways to manage that risk is important for the future of the industry. And they also offer training and development programs and leadership opportunities, which are their indicator for their contribution to SDG 8. And this is beneficial because it can generate a more skilled workforce. Next slide, please. Comparing the two reports is possible due to the mines having similar operation systems and methods used. The three main SDGs found with indicators in both reports are 8, 9, and 12. These will be discussed later on in task 3. Next slide, please.
Okay, so we mapped the SDG indicators discussed before in the time scale for the meaning phases and also in the different geographical scales. So for the time scale, we noted that it's very important to see that even though we place the indicators on a specific phase, it doesn't mean that they should be considered only on that phase, but rather that that phase should be the starting point where the indicator should be kept in mind by the company. Next slide, please. Then we also map the indicators on geographical scales. Where the geographical scales, the indicators overlap. So, for example, the indicators relevant to community development should be considered in both the local, because most of the people directly affected by the project is on the local scale, but it can also be people affected in a broader area. Next one.
Okay, we're gonna move on with task 3. We're gonna talk about the path to forward for Piedmont lithium mining. So, yep, please.
Okay, we have two types of stakeholders. In the primary ones, there are those that are indispensable for the correct operation for the company. These are investors, board of directors, corporate governance, senior management, workers, skilled local workers needed that can work in a safe. Piedmont began a collaboration with Gaston College in 2021 to support the schools with comprehensive local training for mechanics, electricians, and control room operators. And finally, the locations of the project is really important for the customers because the project is nearby highway, rail, and port access to decrease transportation costs, the distances, and the carbon footprint. Next, please. Secondary stakeholders refer to those who are not directly involved in the company, but who are also affected by the company's results. The projects are not exactly a stakeholder, but these projects involve companies that is related with the Piedmont Lithium. These projects are Quebec, Ghana, and Tennessee Lithium. Another stakeholder is the company through in-person meetings, phone calls, social media, and information shared with the media. Piedmont works to keep community residents and local business informed of the activities. And social media, here you can find news, social networks, publications, reports, announcements about the project. Next, please. Okay, in 2021, Piedmont Lithium acquired equity interest in Sayona Mining and a 25% interest in Sayona, Quebec, and also in Atlantic Lithium with the ability to earn a 50% ownership interest in Atlantic Lithium's Ghanaian lithium portfolio. Tennessee Lithium is planned to be a world-class lithium hydroxide production facility. The plant is expected to produce 30,000 metric tons of lithium hydroxide per year. This project is expected to create approximately 120 new direct jobs.
Okay, thank you, Paulina. We're gonna talk about what, how, and when. So this is kind of our thing to the accurate and representative to measure these SDG indicators mentioned before. So for SDG 8, decent work and economic growth, we want to use GDP per capita data because this is such an effective indicator to measure the quality of life. It is easily comparable, and then the data and the statistic is widely available, so it is suitable and excellent for decision making. How we're gonna do that? So we're basically gonna sum the gross value of all resident producer in those community and divided that by mid-year population. When we should track and monitor this measurement every year. Next, for the SDG 9, we're gonna use the one that has been mentioned by Joe's before. So it will be enterprise risk management that will be provide a framework for risk management. So basically, we're gonna identify risk types such as hazard, financial, operational, and also strategic risk to seize the opportunity in order to achieve our sustainable development objectives. Where we should measure this every year. For SDG 12, we are considering a pH, water level, and air quality index. We're gonna apply some engineering and administrative control to keep this water and air quality levels to prevent them from disrupting and damaging the environment nearby, which might be essential for the community living nearby. Different from those two previously discussed, we should track and monitor this measurement every working shift. So this is the example of it. On the left photo, you're gonna see that a pH level of 6.5 until 8.5 is considered the neutral and acceptable level. For the air quality, well, we kind of have to keep it at the minimum of the yellow level, but it is even better if we can get to the green category. Last, SDG 13, climate action, we're gonna talk about how we're gonna maintain our greenhouse gas emission, including carbon dioxide, methane, and etc. We're gonna collect and gather our emission data, mainly produced by our mine operation, probably from our equipment. Moreover, using this data, we can also see the distribution of emission worldwide to compare our operation to other in similar or even different areas. We should track and monitor this measurement every year. This is the example of the emission data. Well, sadly, it keeps increasing over the years. Well, you can see that carbon dioxide is the main emission in here.
All right, so now we're going to go over the key team members, their responsibilities, and when they might potentially be involved in mining. First up, general manager. Their main objective would be translate company goals to the mine-specific level for operations and the management of the mine so that the goals are achieved. Mining and blast engineers would design the pit or mine layout and plan blast patterns. A mining engineer may be responsible for short-term planning and the placement and route for equipment. A processing engineer would run the plant and ensure that the mine material is processed into product. The laborers, mechanics, and technicians would ensure the hands-on tasks are completed and keep the mine running. Same with the equipment operators. They're all very essential for hands-on groundwork. The legal team could handle lawsuits and permitting. The tailings basin engineer would design and manage the tailing basin. The finance management team are responsible for managing, supervising the miners and their specific groups, along with handling the finances of the mine. A community representative could be an extra duty of the employee, but it's just to ensure good social license standing and communications with the neighbors so that they're represented on a corporate level. And environmental engineers could manage and mitigate environmental hazards and the violations that come with them. Thank you. Next slide.
Okay, so for the changes that we propose to improve the contribution to sustainable development, we propose two changes. The first one would be at the stage of planning and development, which is the one the project is in right now. At the moment, the project is having trouble with getting the necessary permits from the local government because the country's council members and community are opposing the project because of the fear of the impacts the mine will cause. So also the project is having trouble with investors because of the delays that the project is having. So what we propose is to improve the engagement strategy by providing more timely and more complete information to both community and investors. Also, the community could also benefit from conferences or similar action where they could ask the company about the impacts they might experience. And the direct effect for this will be to improve the company's relationship with other stakeholders. And this will and a cascading effect of this will be the viability of the project and community participation in other stages. And lastly, we propose a change for the operating phase. As the mining method will be a traditional open pit system, what we propose is that the company ensures that the equipment used for the mining itself is up to date with the best energy efficiency and low emission standards, so that the amount of emissions and dust can be reduced. And this will eventually reduce the environmental impacts, specifically contributing to Sustainable Development Goal number 13, that is climate action. Next one, please. Okay, these ones are the references that we use. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. Group number 3, that was a nice presentation and I appreciate it. Do we have questions for this group?
I have a question. I'm curious, in your stakeholder list, you had listed community representative. I'm wondering if you could elaborate on what that means a little bit more.
Yeah, we thought it could be possibly an extra duty that could be given to an employee or just an employee's main job themselves, but it would be going out, talking to community members, just essentially interacting with possible groups that would be against mining, the protesters and activists, essentially, and trying to understand their perspective so we can have the flip side and work towards providing towards that aspect.
So would that person be an actual community member, or is this more of a community relations professional?
Essentially, community relations professional.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Go ahead, Adam.
Okay, good job, everyone. So you spoke on a lot of social benefits as well as like environmental implications associated with the mine. Compared to the last presentation, do you feel as though generally the community is more accepting of this mine in their area, or did you see any instances of pushback or protests or anything like that?
Well, the community at the moment is not really in favor of this project. But I think, well, we feel that this is more because of lack of information about the benefits that the mine will bring to them. Like, they may be more informed about the possible drawbacks of the project than about the benefits. So if the company gives more information to the community, the perception will be better.
Thank you.
So I have a question for this group as well, because you as you kind of alluded to in reviewing the Albemarle report, and of course Albemarle, one of their representatives spoke to us in the first panel that we had on critical minerals this year. So what sense do you have about, here's basically a community that has 2 lithium projects that are being proposed right in the same general local area. What was your sense about how this particular, the Piedmont project, is viewed versus the Albemarle project? Or did you get a sense of that?
Well, from what we were able to tell, that the Piedmont, the local communities were not as much in favor as it. So from our perspective, it seemed that the Piedmont had a more negative view.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's my perception as well. So I guess I just wonder a little bit, is that because the projects are substantially different in terms of their potential benefits or impacts, or do you think it has more to do with the engagement piece?
I would take a gander or a guess and say that it has to do more with the engagement and how they're interacting with the local communities. Perhaps it's marketing and they're just not presenting themselves as well. It's something to look more into, though.
Okay. Lars.
Yeah, so you mentioned that this has the potential to be like the cheapest lithium. Is that just because there's already mining infrastructure nearby, or why is that?
So, well, if we talk about the costs to build a mine, there will be capital costs and there will be operating costs. The infrastructure is not there yet. We had to spend a lot of money, almost $1 billion to create those. But from the operating cost perspective, this is gonna be one of the cheapest because they're gonna use open pit mining, and then they have like deposit of a shallow, so they don't have to dig deeper because they have like yeah, it's geologic, so yeah, from operating cost perspective, but they still have to spend a lot of money for initial development.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Joe.
I was thinking of a similar question and didn't ask it because Lars is hitting on pretty much what I wanted to ask, but I'm going to just take it one step further. I mean, my thinking is just intuitively that a pegmatite is hard rock in the Piedmont, and hard rock is expensive to move, crush, remove. My question was going to be, is it only economic in a pegmatite until these sedimentary, sedimentary mines come along? Because it's got to be a lot lower cost to deal with moving sedimentary rock than a pegmatite. Thanks.
That might be thank you for the question. That might be something that we will look more after this about the cost of the sedimentary, but for the pegmatite and rock mass moving like this is one of the lowest, cheapest. Thank you for the question.
Yeah, we were just
We'll look
looking at
into it.
in general the stripping cost in comparison, so that's something to look into.
All right, let's take one last question from Sandra.
I wonder about the lower cost producer and lower risk for the mining. I'm sorry if I didn't get the mining processing. Is the company also have mineral processing or lithium processing in the project? And what is the company also consider about the increasing demand in the future as the lithium gonna be like increase the demand in the future, especially the mine lifetime is gonna be next 25 years. So they're also consider about that, and how about the risk in the future?
Thank you, Sandra, for the question. I'm gonna try to answer this. So they do wanna have to process their concentrate, as you can see on the right picture in here. They will convert that concentrate into lithium hydroxide, and for the mine life, currently they're gonna produce around 500,000 tons. So that will give them 25 years. But as you mentioned, if the price bumps up, they're gonna increase their production, so the mine life will be shortened. But I think the overall net profit will be higher if you assume that the price gonna rise up in the futures. So this is still profitable, I think, from our perspective.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I think it's always a good sign of a nice presentation when it yields some questions, so that's good. So thank you to your group for giving us another nice presentation. And with that, we are on to our last group for today. I will say, I don't know if it's just me, but it feels like we are flying through class today, and I think it's because I'm enjoying actually hearing from you, which is wonderful. So I really, really appreciate that. That's what we ought to do more of. So it's really nice to hear from you and get your thoughts and see how you're putting together and synthesizing some of the things that we've been talking about all semester so far. All right, so yes, and thank you.